recording so I can record me going over the midterm stuff. All right, so if you don't have any other questions, I will go ahead and go over some of the midterm questions, starting with chapter 1. My methodology when creating this midterm, again, like I said, it's 50 questions, 2.5 points per question, multiple choice, true, false, multiple answer. It'll be covering chapters 1 through 6. Each chapter has at least 8 questions to deal with each chapter, right? So chapter 1 has 8 questions, chapter 2 has 8 questions. Some chapters have more questions than others, but more like 9 to 10 versus 8. And that's more heavily focusing on the chapters 6 and 5, since methods and classes are very much so important to your understanding of object-oriented design, right? And on that, let me, if you don't have to respond if this doesn't affect you, but does everybody understand the utility of object-oriented design, how powerful that can be when you're programming? If you don't, let me know, speak up, don't be afraid. All right, I'll take that as a yes. If you do have questions, feel free to email me. I'm going to start from the top. I'm looking at what I created for the midterm. I'm going to give you guys some foot stompers. I would say go over what exactly the Java virtual machine is, what the utility of the Java virtual machine is for chapter 1. I go heavily into what that is, and just try to get like who developed Java. Hopefully you know who that is, and know what source code is, what the difference between source code and bytecode, and what the utility of that is. And something you'll hear moving forward in chapters 7 and 8, 6 and 8, but more so later on, is encapsulation. Know what that term means. In chapter 2, I would say go over obviously all the data types, and what operators can or cannot be used on different data types, and the difference between a char and a string data type. Know what those are. For chapter 3, I'm going to go over most of the decision statements, so like switch statements, while statements, if else. Actually, while is in chapter 4, I believe, but we'll go over that too. Also, don't be afraid to say a question is null or an error, because there are, when it comes to these coding questions, you have 4 options, one of which will always be it's none of the above. Don't be afraid to say it's none of the above, or it's an error, because it won't compile because of whatever error. Definitely go over while loops, for loops. Know what loops are good for which loops. I don't really go over the enhanced for loop too heavily in this midterm, because that's introduced in chapter 7, module 7, which is not covered, so you don't have to worry about that. Understand what variable scope is, what that means, what a local variable is, and also with that, we'll go over data fields and instance data fields, or what that means, what the scope of a data field is. And that's pretty much it, I would say. It's not particularly tricky exam, but it's definitely not. It definitely could trip you up if you are not paying attention to particulars very much so, in particular when it comes to the coding questions. I would say look at the code closely. There are two questions in particular that are designed to sort of trip you up a little bit. Any other questions? How does everyone feel the course is going? Is it going fast enough, or slow, or too slow, or is it going too fast?
I say it's moderate. I say it's
moderate.
Good.
Do you have any previous coding experience, Darius?
Not really.
No?
Like I got into a program when I got into robotics, so then that
Okay.
was like basics of it, and then I just want to know more.
Okay, yeah. Well, hopefully this was a good introduction to object-oriented programming and design for you. Do you have any more questions about classes or methods? I could go. We have about 13 more minutes left, and we can go into more detail about that if you have any other questions.
No, I think it's good for me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cool. Awesome. Let's see. Does anyone else have any other questions besides Darius? All right. Awesome. If nobody else has anything else to add, I'll give you guys return your time to you, and I'll post the recording of this onto Canvas. Again, midterm is not meant to be impossible. It's not. It's just slightly more challenging than what has been presented so far. Please do expect the. I believe I said on Canvas that the final projects, at least the part one of the final projects will be due on at least due on July 27th. But this weekend I'll be releasing what exactly the scope of the final project is. Expect to use a lot of JOption pane and graphical user interfaces for the final project. I was trying to get to the point where we could use CSV files to interact with Java and your JOption pane program, but similar to what I do in my Python class, but it's a bit, you have to get to a couple more steps in understanding Java before you can, get there. We can get there. So maybe in the intermediate class next semester. If there's nothing else, I'll return your time to you ladies and gentlemen. And hopefully, if you have any other questions, feel free to email me or send me an inbox message via Canvas. All right, awesome. I'll see you guys. Maybe if you want to come to the next one on Saturday. If not, then I'll see you guys on the video recordings.
Thank you, sir.
All right, no problem.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. See you.
You too.